Dobry wieczór. Tutaj William. Witajcie na spotkaniowym podsumowaniu Polski wiadomości ze mną, Williamem Murphy. Witam was bardzo serdecznie. The main news stories this week have included: the first round of the presidential election is set for May 10th, as an opinion poll shows Andrzej Duda holding a large lead over Małgorzata Kidawa-Błonska. The visit by President Macron points to an improvement in previously strained Franco-Polish relations. There's no immediate changes for Poles living in the UK as Brexit finally becomes a reality, and new Irish citizens are urged to turn out to vote in Saturday's general election. The next, and for now final, instalment in Poland's lengthy series of elections, this time for the presidency, is now coming into sharper focus, with the polling date for the first round announced yesterday. Sejm Marshal Elżbieta Witek said it will take place on Sunday, May 10th, with a second round, if required, following 2 weeks later on May 24th. A new opinion poll for Fakta, TVN and TVN24 indicates that the vote were held today, incumbent President Andrzej Duda would top the first ballot with 44% support, well ahead of the Platforma Obywatelska candidate Małgorzata Kidawa-Błonska, whose support stood at 24%. The other declared candidates trailed far behind, with independent candidate Szymon Hołownia on 9%, the left's Robert Biedroń on 8%, the Polish People's Party's Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz on 4%, and Konfederacyj's Krzysztof Bosak on 3%. When asked who they support in a second round runoff between the top two first ballot contenders, 54% opted for Duda and 42% for Kidawa-Błonska, with 4% not expressing a preference. On Tuesday, a spokesman for President Duda confirmed that he'd signed the controversial new law providing for disciplinary measures for judges who challenged the validity of the appointment or rulings of their colleagues. Opposition parties had called on Duda not to sign the measure, and the European Commission has asked the European Court of Justice to freeze the new rules, claiming they threaten judicial independence. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in Poland late on Sunday on a 3-day visit, taking in both Warszawa and Kraków. The visit afforded an opportunity for both countries to reset their bilateral relations after a lengthy period of strain between the two EU member states and NATO allies, largely caused by differing political perspectives between the two countries' governments, including over migration and climate change. Macron's predecessor, Franco cancelled the planned visit in 2016 after Poland didn't proceed with plans to purchase French-designed helicopters for the army. Prime Minister Morawiecki held talks with Macron on Monday, after which at a joint press conference he said that Poland and France had agreed to renew ties as part of the Weimar Triangle group, which also includes Germany. It was first set up in the early 1990s, but has lost impetus in recent years. Macron has proposed holding a summit meeting of the leaders of the three countries in the coming months, saying they needed to take responsibility for the development of the EU post-Brexit. President Duda has been invited by his French counterpart to visit Paris as a guest of honour on Bastille Day, July 14th. Macron has been invited to the commemorations in August of the 100th anniversary of the 1920 Miracle of the Vistula, marking the victory of Polish forces over invading Bolsheviks. Polish nationals, like many others, have been impacted by the coronavirus epidemic in China. Poland's chief sanitary inspector, Jarosław Pinkas, urged calm, saying that only those who have been to China could be infected, or those who have come in contact with someone who just returned from China over the past fortnight and had been to the lockdown city of Wuhan, which is in Hubei province. He added that our local flu will be sure to cause more problems than this virus, I'm quite certain. Last year, due to low vaccination, 160 people died from flu. On Sunday, 30 Polish citizens arrived in France, having been evacuated from Hubei, from where they were flown by military aircraft to Wrocław. It was subsequently confirmed that none of the Poles evacuated had tested positive for the flu-like illness. National carrier LOT announced on Tuesday it was extending the suspension of flights from Warszawa to Beijing until the end of the month. Well, after an interval of nearly 3.5 years since the June 2016 Brexit referendum, last Friday night at 11 p.m. UK and Irish time, the United Kingdom formally left the European Union, and the transition period, during which most things apart from the UK's participation in the EU institutions will remain the same, commenced. Personally, I think that whatever your view of Brexit, it's only right in a democratic country that the will of the people, as expressed in the referendum vote, has finally been respected, after what seemed like inexhaustible efforts to frustrate or even overturn it. The UK's departure, though, does change the balance of power within the bloc. Both Poland and Ireland will miss having the UK as an ally on many issues, where they'd both be less inclined to support centralising and interventionist tendencies than many other member states. Speaking about the UK's withdrawal, Deputy Foreign Minister Paweł Jabłoński told Polish radio it would not adversely affect Poles living in the UK or Polish businesses trading there. He said that we have good bilateral relations with the United Kingdom, and also guarantees that her citizens and Polish and British companies doing business with each other will retain their rights. Around 400,000 of the 900,000 Polish citizens living in the UK, including of course Northern Ireland, have yet to apply for settled status, which they need to do to remain in the country. They have until June 30th next year to do so, but are being encouraged to apply as soon as possible. In an example of the kind of East-West tensions likely to feature more prominently post-Brexit, Poland is among a group of Central and Eastern European states considering a legal challenge to new EU road transport rules, which opponents claim are designed to protect existing operators in the wealthier member states and stifle competition. Under the rules agreed by most member states last December, truck drivers working abroad would have the right to return home every 3 to 4 weeks, and the actual trucks would have to return to their company's headquarters every 8 weeks. This stipulation is designed to hinder the practice of registering haulage operators in lower tax countries while they primarily operate elsewhere. Poland, reportedly along with Bulgaria, Cyprus, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta and Romania, want changes to the proposed rules, which will next be considered by the European Parliament. They cite in particular the financial cost and environmental waste involved in returning empty trucks home. A diplomat from one of the countries opposed to the measure was quoted as saying, "It undercuts our companies heavily. If we have no other choice, we will sue at the European Court of Justice." As we previewed last week, on Friday, the signing ceremony for the purchase by Poland of 32 US-built advanced F-35 fighter jets at a cost of $4.6 billion took place in Dublin, with President Duda, Prime Minister Morawiecki, Defence Minister Mariusz Błaszczak, and the US Ambassador to Poland, Georgette Mosbacher, all in attendance. Morawiecki said that the new aircraft would enable the Polish armed forces and NATO forces to protect, in particular, the alliance's eastern flank. On Tuesday, Deputy Culture Minister Magdalena Gawin confirmed at a press conference in Warszawa that Poland has formally asked UNESCO to add the Gdansk shipyard, birthplace of the Solidarity Free Trade Union, to its World Heritage List. She described it as a great monument for Poland. The request was made during her visit to Paris last Friday, with officials including the Deputy Mayor of Gdansk. Turning briefly to Irish news, I would encourage all listeners, including especially new Irish citizens who were on the existing 2019 to 2020 electoral register, or who got themselves onto the supplementary register before the January 22nd deadline, to exercise your right to vote in Saturday's general election. Polling hours are from 7 a.m. in the morning until 10 p.m. at night, and make sure to bring one of the specified forms of ID with you to the polling station in case you're asked for it. A recent Irish Times article noted that 5,072 Poles have become Irish citizens over the past 4 years. Finally, the top names for baby boys and girls in Poland last year have been revealed. Susanna, often abbreviated to Zosia, topped the poll for girls, while Anthony led the way among the boys. The data was released by the Ministry of Digital Affairs, who said in a statement that When choosing a name for a child, people should remember that, by law, they should pick a name that's not ridiculous. Moreover, the name should indicate the child's sex. Tushesco na Chenchijin. Zapraszam na kolejny podsumowanie z tydzień o tym samym porze. Dobranoc.